Hello and welcome to All Sides Academy. In this worksheet, we're going to look at simplifying and substituting, and this is the foundation stage. This worksheet is available in PDF form. You can be able to download a free copy using the link in the description down below. We'll start with substitution, and the first question gives us 3x minus 4y, and we are supposed to substitute the value of x with 3 and the value of y with 2. So 3x will be 3 times x, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. 4y will be 4 times y, which is 4 times 2, which gives us 8. So 9 minus 8 gives us 1. In the second question, we are given p into q minus 3 divided by 4. So we'll start with the numerator. So I'll write p into q minus 3. Then I want to substitute the values of q and p into the expression. So I'll have that. So I start with the number in the brackets. So negative 7 minus 3 gives me negative 10. Then I multiply the negative 10 by the 2 that is outside the brackets to get negative 20. So that will be the solution for the numerator. Then I divide by 4 to get negative 5. In this question, we are given t squared minus 4t, and the value of t is negative 3. So I'm going to start with t squared. T squared means I'm multiplying the t by itself, and the t is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 gives me 9. And then 4t will be 4 times t, and that is 4 times negative 3. That gives me negative 12. The next step is to put them together. So I'll have 9 minus negative 12. Now, when you have the same operations, that is positive times positive, it gives you a positive value. When you have minus times minus, it gives you a positive. When you have minus times positive, it gives you a negative. And when you have positive times negative, it gives you a negative. In this case, we have two negatives, so we get it as a positive. So 9 plus 12 gives you 21, and that will be our answer. In the next question, we are given x squared minus 7x. So the value of x is negative 5, and we are supposed to find the value of p. So I'll start by finding the x squared. So x squared is x times x. That's what I'm writing. So negative 5 times negative 5. Those are two negatives, which gives us positive 25. Then 7x is 7 times x, which is 7 times negative 5, which gives us negative 35. So the next step is to actually put them together. So I'm going to take the 25 minus negative 35. So the two negatives give me a positive from this table, and I'm going to rewrite that as 25 plus 35. When I add the two, I get 60. Here we are given an equation, t equals 5x plus 2y, and the value of x is negative 3, the value of y is 4, and we are to work out the value of t. So I'm going to start by substituting 5 times x, that is 5 times negative 3, and that gives me negative 15. Then 2y is 2 times y. The y is given by 4, so 2 times 4, which gives me 8. So then I put the two expressions together so that t is given by negative 15 plus the 8. So that is the same as 8 minus 15. But remember, when we have a big number, that is 15 minus 8, our answer is positive. So if we have the small number 8, take away 15, our answer will be negative, so negative 7. So that becomes the answer. And the next question, we are basically looking at collecting like terms and In this case, we will be looking at simplifying numbers and expressions. So simplify a plus a plus a plus a. Those are 4 a's, so that will be what we have right there. Simplify 3 times c times d, so that will be written as 3cd. Now here we have simplify 3ef plus 5ef minus ef. So the EF makes the 3 terms to be like terms. So we're going to add the 3 plus 5 to get 8 and then subtract EF. So that just means that there's a 1 EF right there. So I'm going to write that as adding the first 2, which is 8 EF, and then that is the same as 1 EF. When I subtract, I get 7 EF. The second one has 4 B's, so 4B is the answer right there. The next one, 8n minus 3n. So 8n minus 3n, the n's make the 2 terms to be like terms. So 8 minus 3 gives us 5n. That will be our answer right there. The next one, 3 times c times d gives us 3cd. In this, simplify 3x plus 7y plus 2x minus y. So these are 2 types of terms. We have ones that have x, we have numbers that have y. So we're going to start by putting the like terms together. So I'll identify the x together with the x and the y with the y. So I'll add the like terms together. So 3x plus 2x to give you 5x. And then 7y minus y to give you 6y. Once I've done that, I now put them together so that I have 5x plus 6y as my answer for that. The second one has like terms as well. So the x's, we put them together, and the y's, we put them together as well. So 3x plus x will give me 4x. 5y plus 4y will give me 9y. Then I put them together to get 4x plus 9y. This is a times c times 3. So I'll start with the number, then the first letter in the alphabetical order, then the last one, so 3ac. And the next one we have p times p times p. So now this is multiplication. It introduces the powers. So this is 3 p's multiplied together, so we get that as p cubed. 5x minus 4y plus 3x minus y. So we start with putting the like terms together. So 5x together with 3x, and then here you have to note that the 4y is negative. So I'll highlight the negative 4y and the negative 3y. So I'll start with the x. So 5x plus 3x gives me 8x. And then I have negative 4y minus 3y, which gives me negative 7y. Once I've done that, now I put the 2 terms together so that I have 8x minus 7y, and that is my response. Then here, simplify 5a minus 2a. The a's make the 2 terms to be like terms, so I'll just subtract the numbers. 5 minus 2 gives me 3a, and that will be the answer right there. Simplify 3 times 4y. So this is multiplication. 3 times 4y means I have the 4y's 3 times. So that is the same as multiplying the 3 times the 4, just the numbers, to get 12, and then my answer will be 12y. In the next question, we have simplify 3e plus 4f plus 2e minus f. So again, put the like terms together. So the 3e is a like term to 2e, and then the 4f is a like term to negative f. So I'll start by 3e plus 2e, which gives me 5e. then 4f minus f, which gives me 3f. Then I put them together to get 5e plus 3f. In this question, we have m plus m plus m. Those are 3 m's added together, so the answer is 3m. 9e minus 2e. The e's are like terms, so we subtract the numbers. 9 minus 2 to get 7e. 5 times 3g. We multiply the numbers 5 times 3 to get 15. So our answer will be 15g. Now, in this question, we have expanding and factorizing single brackets. So when we are expanding brackets, it basically means the number outside the bracket is multiplied by all the numbers inside. So in this first case, we'll have 5 multiplied by the m to get 5m. Then 5 multiplied by the 2 to get 10. Then we put the two numbers together. Then this second one has factorize. So factorize means finding the common factor and then introducing a bracket. So it's the opposite of expanding. So this y squared is y times y, but in this case, I'm going to use a dot product so that I indicate that it is multiplied by itself, and then I identify what appears in the first term and in the second term. So you can see there's a y that is appearing on the first and the second term, and that's the term that I'm going to factor out. So I'll put y outside so that inside I remain with the y that's not circled and the 3. So y plus 3. And I have factorized that to be y into y plus 3. Close the bracket. In the second one, we have two terms that have been multiplied. They have the same basis. The laws of indices tell us that when we multiply two numbers that have the same basis, or two letters that have the same basis, we can add their indices or their powers. So there we are going to have the a to power 5 plus 4 will give us a to power 9. A to power 9 right there. Here we have expand. So expand means we are multiplying the number outside the bracket with everything that is inside the bracket. So 2m times m gives us 2m squared, and then 2m times the 3 gives us 6m. So put together we'll have 2m squared plus 6m. Factorize fully. Factorize means finding the highest common factor and then putting it outside the bracket. So once again, I'm going to express this as dot products. So this is 3x y dot y minus 6xy. So here, so this is 6xy. In this case, we have two numbers that might be having the common factor, so the 3 and the 6. I'll express the 6 in terms of a product of its factors, and the factors I use is 2 times 3. So clearly we can be able to see that 3 is common in the first term and in the second term. So I'll start by circling that. 3 and 3 on the other side, 3 on the first and the second. Then we come to the letters. So there's an x in the first term and an x in the second term. So I'll do that. And the y as well is in the first term and it's in the second term. So I'll have 3xy outside the bracket, and then in the bracket I'll remain with y minus 2. So you have to remember the 2 right there. So that will be our answer. Yeah. In this one, we have to expand. So expanding means we are multiplying the number outside the bracket with everything inside the bracket. So I'll start with 1 at a time. 3 times the x to give me 3x. and then I'll have 3 times the 4 to give me 12. So our answer will be 3x plus 12. In this second question, I'm going to multiply the x with everything that is in the brackets. So I'll start with x times x squared. That gives me x cubed, because the x is the same as x to power 1. And when I add the powers, I get x cubed. Then x times 2 will give me 2x. So then I put them together to have x cubed plus 2x right there. Factorize. So I want to find a common factor between the first and the second term. So I'm going to express that as a dot product. So x times x right there, and then 6 times x. So the letter that is common between the first term and the second term is x. So I factor it out to remain with x minus 6 in the bracket. So that will be my factorized expression. Expand and simplify. So we start with one bracket at a time. So I'm going to start with expanding the first bracket. So 5x plus 7. So 5 times x, and then 5 times 7 right there. And then on the other side, I have 3 times x, and then 3 times negative 2. So right there, once I have that, now I rewrite that as 5x plus 35 and 3x minus 6. So once I've done that, I now add all of them together. So 5x plus 35, and then plus 3x plus 3x minus the 6. Then I come and put the like terms together. So the terms that have the x, I put them together, and the constants or the whole numbers that don't have an x, I also put them together. So 5x plus 3x gives me 8x, and then 35 minus 6 gives me 9. So putting that together, I have 8x plus 9. Factorize completely. So once again, for these kinds of questions, express them as dot products. So I'll write 3, and then a dot a, because it's a squared, and then dot b, plus 6 a b b. Now I start with the numbers. So here we have numbers and we have letters as well. The 6, I can express it as a product of its factors. So 2 times 3 right there. So I start with the number that is common, and in this case we have a 3 common in the 2. And then we have the first a is common to the 2 as well, and then we have a b that is common as well. So you're taking numbers that are common to the 2 terms. So I rewrite that by starting with the numbers that I've circled to be outside the bracket. So I'll start with the 3, then a, then b, and then I remain with a on the first term, and then on the second term, I remain with the 2 that I had factorized and the b. So I'll write that plus 2b, and that will be my factorized expression. Expand. So in this case, we multiply by the 3 by the 2y to get 6y, and then the 3 by the negative 15 to get the negative 5 to get negative 15. So putting them together, I get 6y minus 15. 8x squared plus 4xy. So I rewrite that as a dot product of the 2 terms. And then I further write the 8 as a product of its factors. So that we have 2 times 4, and then 4 is common to the first and the second term. Then x is also common to the first and the second. So I rewrite those 2 numbers that I have circled and the letters outside. So we have, I'll rewrite that as 4x into I remain with 2x plus y inside the brackets. Right there, 2x plus y. In expanding and factorizing quadratics, we are going to look at expanding double brackets as the first question, and we will use the method called FOIL, which stands for first, outer, inner, and last. Right there. So I'm going to start with the first terms, which is m times m. So m times m gives me m squared. Then the outer terms right there. This outer terms, m times 3 will give me 3m right there. And then we go to the inner, which is 7 and m. And when I multiply them together, I get 7m. And then the last ones is 7 and 3. When I multiply them together, I get 21. So the next step is to put all of them together and add them. All right, so I will write m squared plus 3m, m squared plus 3m plus 7m, and then plus 21. Then the 3m and 7m are like terms, so I'm going to add them together, 10m right there, m squared plus 10m plus 21 will be our final answer right there. Factorize 6 plus 9x. So first we write the 6 and the 9 as product of its factors. So this is 2 times 3 and this is 3 times 3. And then figure out what is common. So I'm seeing a 3 in the first and the second term, so that is common. So I'll write that as 3 outside, and then in the bracket I'll remain with 2 plus 3x. So don't forget the x that is at the top with the 9, that is belonging to that term. All right, factorize y squared minus 16. I want you guys to notice that y squared minus 16 looks like a difference of 2 squares. So I'll express that as y squared and then this as 4 squared. So when you have a difference of 2 squares, you will always express this as y plus 4 and y minus 4 right there. In this question, we are to solve by factorizing the equation. So this is an equation. So let's start first by factorizing the expression on the left-hand side. So I'll start with sum, product, and the numbers. So the sum, if we rewrite the normal general expression of a quadratic expression, we'll have the sum being equal to the b, which is the coefficient of x, that is negative 30. The product will be a times the c, which is 8 times negative 27. And that gives us negative 216. So the numbers will be from the product. So we're going to find pairs of factors multiplied together to get negative 216. So we'll start with the obvious one and itself. So because the product is a negative, we can have either 216 being the negative or the 1. So that's why I've given those two pairs. Then I go to the next one, 2 and 108. Each of them can be a negative. 3 and 72, each of them can be a negative. And then 4 and 54, each of them can be a negative. And then we go to another trial of 6 and 36 and 6 and 36, each of them can be a negative. So already we can start trying to add. By just looking, you can always almost estimate the one that will come close to the sum that you have right there. So we'll use 6 and negative 36, and then negative 6 and 36. So the first one gives me positive 30, the second one will give me negative 30, and that's the option I'm looking for. So my numbers are 6 and negative 36. So I'll rewrite the first part of that equation and the numbers. Now I want to substitute where I have the negative 30x with the numbers that I got. So I'm going to write that down, and then I pair up these two parts of the expression so that I start to factorize these pairs. So I find a common factor in terms of the number and the letters. So 2 is common between 8 and 6. And then we also have an x common between the two terms. So I factor that out to remain with 4x plus 3. And then on the other side, minus 36 and 27 have a common factor, which is 9. In the bracket, I will remain with 4. And then notice I will put a plus because when I open the bracket, I want it to get to negative 27. So if I put plus 3, I will have 3 times negative 9 giving me negative 27. Another trick is that the first bracket will always be the same as the second bracket. It's as easy as that, guys. So once we have that, the brackets are common factors. So we're going to have to factor them out. So we have 2x minus 9 remaining when we factored out the brackets. Then remember this was an equation, so we bring down the equal sign and put a 0. So when two numbers are being multiplied together, one of them has to be a 0. So it can either be the first bracket that is a 0 or the second bracket that is a 0. We don't really know. So we're going to test for both of them. If the first bracket is a 0, then 2x minus 9 should be equal to 0. So if the second one is a 0, then 4x plus 3 should be a 0. So we solve for each of them so that we get 2x minus 9 equals 0. We take the 9 to the other side. 2x equals 9. So the 9 changes to positive when it crosses the equal sign. Then I divide by 2 on both sides so that I remain with x on one side. So when I do that, I get x being equal to 4.5. That's the first value of x. So if 4x plus 3 equals 0, then I need to solve for the value of x. So I'll start by taking the 3 to the other side. This is a positive, so when it goes to the other side, it becomes a negative. So I'll write 4x equals negative 3, then divide both sides by 4 to remain with x equals negative 3 over 4, or x equals negative 0.75. So the two solutions we have are 4.5 and negative 0.75 or negative 3 over 4. In this question, we are to factorize this expression as well. So we use sum, product, and numbers. Okay, so the sum, again, is the coefficient of x, which is b. The product is the a times the c. Our b in this case is 3, so I'm going to write that. And our product is, this is x squared, so that means the coefficient is just 1. So 1 times the c, which is negative 4. So that gives me negative 4. So I'm to find the numbers from the product, which is negative 4. So list out all the possible factors of 4, or rather negative 4, and then add them together to get a pair that will give you a sum of 4. So that's what I'm going to do. So negative 1 plus 4 already gives us 3, that's what I'm going to go with, -1 and 4 as the factors that we are looking for. So I'm going to substitute that into the expression we have right there. So it will be x squared minus 1x plus 4x, then minus 4. And then I pair them up, starting with those two, then those two. So I identify a common factor. In this case, I'll go with the letter. So x into x minus 1 minus 4. 4 is common for the second pair. And then I remain with x minus 1. Now, you notice that the bracket is also a common factor. So we factor it out and then remain with x plus 4 right there. And we've expanded that. This next question asks us to express this expression in the form of a perfect square and a constant n added to it. So what I'm going to use here is completing the square method. So for perfect squares, c and b are related in such a way that c is the same as the half of b squared. So a perfect square would be x plus 2 squared. If I expanded that, I would have x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now, if we test for the b and c, we need to see how they are related. And then if the second example of a perfect square is x plus 3, so if I expand that, I'll get x squared plus 6 plus 9. Now, the b is the 6, the 9 is the c right there. So, to get any c, you have the b and then square it. That is only for perfect squares. So, I'm going to stop up to that point. So, x squared plus 2x and then plus half of the b, which is 2, and then I square it. But remember, this is an expression, so I shouldn't change the value. So if I've added that, I should also subtract it so that I have it as that. Now, these two parts are equal to 0. Identify these two parts and express them as a perfect square now. So this will be written as x plus, if I simplify the numbers in the brackets, I'll get 1. So x plus 1 and then introduce a bracket, so that becomes a perfect square, and then minus 1 minus 8, so that will be written as x plus 1 squared minus 9. So n and m are the integers that we are talking about right there, the 1 and the -9. Expand that. So expanding means multiplying the number outside the brackets with everything that is inside the brackets. So 4 times 3x to get 12x, and then 4 times 5 to get 20. So that will be 12x plus 20. Expand and simplify. So we start by expanding the first bracket, then expand the second bracket. So I'll start with the first bracket. So that is 2 into x minus 4. So each of the numbers will be multiplied by the 2 that is outside the bracket. So I'll have 2 times x and 2 times -4 right there to get 2x minus 8. And then the second part of the bracket is 3 into x plus 5. So each of the numbers in the brackets are going to be multiplied by the 3 outside. So I'll have that as 3 times x and 3 times 5 to get that. So I rewrite that 3x plus 15. And then the final step is to put them all together. So we have 2x minus 8 and 3x plus 15. Identify the like terms, so the numbers that have letters and the constants put together. So there we have 5x and 7 as the final answer of our expression right there. Here we have expanding double brackets. FOIL. So remember, you can also use the grid method. If you would like to see the grid method, comment down below. So here we are using the FOIL method. First, the x and the x to get x squared. Then the outer 6 times x to get x times 6 to get 6x. And then the inner, which is 4 times x to get 4x. And then the last, that is 4 times 6 to get 24 right there. Okay, so once we have that, we put them together. So x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24. Put the like terms together to get 10x. And then we write that as x squared plus 10x plus 24 as the expression. Factorize. Once again, we start with sum, products, and factors, also known as the numbers. All right, so writing that, our sum is b, which is 5, our product is 4, and then our factors are found from the product. Our product is positive, so the options are either both numbers are positive or both numbers are negative in our case. So we add the two, and then we get one that is already an option that we can consider right there. So 1 and 4 are the factors that we are looking for. So we're going to substitute the 1 and 4 in the place of 5x. So we are going to write x squared plus x plus 4x plus 4. Then pair each of those terms so that we find a common factor. So in the first one, x is common. So when I factor out 1x, I remain with an x and a 1. And then 4 is common. I remain with x and 1. So remember the trick, guys. So far, the two brackets will always have the same expressions. Okay, so we factor them out and we remain with x plus 1 and x plus 4 as the last expression. Expand and simplify. Once again, we use FOIL. I want you to pause this video and try using FOIL to expand this expression. So the first term is 3x times 2x, which gives us 6x squared. And then the second one is the outer, which is 3x times 5. And that gives us 15x. The inner one is negative 1 and 2x. And when we multiply them together, we get negative 2x. And then the last one is negative 1 and 5. When multiplied together, we get negative 5. The next step is to put all these terms together. So when I put them together, I have 6x squared plus 15 plus minus 2x minus 5. So the two are like terms. I simplify that by taking the 15x minus 2x to get 13x. Then I rewrite that as the last expression right there. Expand. So we're going to multiply the 3 with each of the terms that are in the bracket. So 3 times 2 and 3 times t, and then put them together. Then here expand again. We're going to multiply the term outside with each of the terms inside the bracket. So 3x times 2x gives you 6x squared. And then 3x times 5 gives you 15x. Then rewrite them, putting together all these two terms. FOIL once again. First, outer, inner, and last. So we start with the first terms, which is m and m, to give m squared. The outer is m and 10 to give 10m. The inner is 3 and m to give 3m, and then the last is 3 and 10 to give 30. Put all these terms together. So m squared plus 10m plus 3m plus 30. Then add the 10m plus 3m to get 13, and then rewrite m squared plus 13m plus 30 as the expression. Factorize x squared plus 7x. So I'll write the x squared as a dot product and then identify the factor that is common. In this case, it's the x. And when I factor that out, I remain with 1x on the first term. And on the second one, I remain with a 7 right there. Factorize. So once again, sum, product, and factors. By now, I believe that you have already identified each of these terms, sum, the product, and the factors. I want you to pause this video once again and try solve this expression. So the sum is going to be given by the coefficient of y. In this case, it's negative 10. The product is a and c, which is 16. So the factors will be from the 16. So we're going to write all the lists of two pairs of numbers that you multiply together to get 16. This is a positive number, so the two can be positive or the two become negative. So adding each of those terms, I want a pair that will give me a sum of negative 10. So we have negative 2 and negative 8. So I'm going to rewrite the expression and substitute the two factors where I have negative 10. Pair up each of those terms and identify what is common between each of the two. So in the first expression, y is common. When I factor out 1y, I remain with a y and a 2. So that is y minus 2. And then in the second one, again, in these cases, the brackets will always be the same. So I factor out the 8 and then I remain with y minus 2 in the last one. So I factor out the brackets once again, y minus 2 and y plus minus 8 is the expression. So factorize this. So we're going to use sum, product, and factors. Our a in this case is 2. So at squared plus bt plus c is the general form of that expression. So the b is 5, the a times c is 2 times 2, which is 4. So the factors are from the product, which is 4. So we have 1 and 4, 1 and 4. This is a positive number, so it's either two numbers were positive or the two numbers were negative. So when we sum those two numbers, the first one gives us negative 5, the second one gives us positive 5. We want one that gives us positive 5, which happens to be the second pair. So I'm going to rewrite the factors right there, 1 and 4, and substitute them where I have 5t. Right there, then pair the two and identify which is common among the two. So I'll have t as the term that is common in the first pair, and then I remain with 2t plus 1, and then 2 is common in the second pair to remain with 2t plus 1. So then I factor out the bracket so that I remain with 2t plus 1 and then t plus 2. And that's the end.